We are previewing UFC 155 here at SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with Nick Kalikas, sitting right next to me, MMA oddsmaker and consultant for DSI Sportsbook. And right now we're going to talk about Joe Lauzon and Jim Miller. Now, Jim Miller, of course, one of the top lightweights in the division, but he did lose to Nate Diaz by a sick guillotine submission, right?
Yeah, Diaz looked great in that fight.
I mean, amazing. So Miller's minus 215 right now, and Joe Lauzon, you know, it's definitely going to be an exciting, fast-paced fight. I think, you know, Miller does have the edge, clearly, but this much of an edge, I don't know. I think I'd take Lauzon at plus 175 if I had to bet it.
You know what? I would agree with you here a little bit because based on Jim Miller's last few performances as well, man, he didn't look that great against Diaz. Right. Even before that, he started, I think he's a little bit on the decline, which is sad to see because he's a top tier, again, saying it like we did last fight. He's been in the top of the food chain as far as lightweights go. I mean, other than when Frankie Edgar was champion and Gray Maynard was right below him there, Jim Miller was a number 3. He was waiting for his title shot. I mean, that's how good. He basically cleared out everybody else, most of the lightweights in the division. He was right there, but he's not the same Jim Miller. And Joe Lauzon, on the other hand, now is starting to get a little bit better. We see improvements in his game as far as his cardio goes. We see that improving as well. I think he's better on the feet overall. It's going to be competitive on the feet, but I think Joe's better on the feet. The only real advantage Jim's going to have is wrestling. Right. The ground game, the BJJ, maybe a slight edge to Jim Miller as far as submission defense, even though he did get caught with Nate. His submission defense, I think, overall is a little bit better too. So Jim Miller has a slight edge. I'm not sure at the price. I mean, the betting public is going to keep it up around that price because they'll have more faith in Jim Miller. But I wouldn't be surprised if wise money does come in on the dog here and Joe Lauzon.
Right. One thing that makes me a little nervous is Miller's a lefty. You know what I mean? So that can take a little bit more preparation. You know, and the fact that Gray Maynard was not, you know, was a righty could be a monkey wrench. But no, yeah, I'm agreeing. Where'd you open this line?
I opened it at like 220. You know,
okay.
And sometimes I'll make adjustments if we're not getting nailed on one side or the other. And I think the dog has a better shot, then the favorite will probably drop in most cases, even with not a lot of action coming in, if I can do that sometimes. So this is one of the cases here. But I do think it'll creep back up a little bit.
And do you think that you might get some late action on the dog here from the sharps?
I think the sharps will be probably on the dog. They're not going to be willing to lay the juice on Jim Miller, especially, like I said, based on his last few performances. I don't think it's a great idea.
Right, right. And what do you think about Lauzon by sub? That might be a decent prop to take.
I think overall Jim Miller's probably keen enough to avoid the sub game. I mean, if he gets caught and rocked, that's a different story.
Right.
I think Miller might be able to catch Lauzon than vice versa. But Lauzon is pretty slick on the ground too. I just think that Jim Miller's sub defense is pretty solid. I don't think he's going to probably get caught.
All right, and if it does go the distance, you think that there might be some shenanigans involved, or which way do you think that might break?
It should. If it does go to the decision, it should kind of benefit Jim Miller a little bit.
Right.
But
that's what I think.
But you never know with the judging though too. I mean, if it's close, a lot of times now, even more recently too, the guys that have controlled, been on top on the ground, don't get the decisions as much. They're giving it to the guys off their back once in a while too. In most cases, like I said, it should favor Jim Miller though by decision. So Joe Lauzon though, at the price, you're right. He could be worth a small stab here.